OECD meetings you attend as a representative of the government of the United States, and you have an officer from the embassy or the mission who sits in the room with you. Which means at a competition meeting, if you're asked, does trade policy impede the accomplishment of competition goals? And you say, it certainly does. It's one of the cartel's best friends because it facilitates cartelization, it impedes entry, and if I had my way, I'd strip away lots of the restrictions on trade. You are given a cold cup of coffee by the embassy, your green passport is taken, and you are sent home. So you do not have the freedom to engage in the open give and take that might take place otherwise. The notion was a different organization ought to be established, and the OECD had a very ungenerous role for non-government organizations. They were allowed in the room for a bit, but there was a ceremony when the discussion was closed in which they were asked to leave the room. And there was a walk of shame through which, before all present, they would proceed out to the door, to the great glee of the government participants who were happy to see them leave. In 2001, as a result of a DOJ white paper prepared as a result of a public consultation, a new institution's formed called the International Competition Network. What are its characteristics? Not government to government, it's agency to agency. Freer discussion among the government bodies. Second, wide role for non-government organizations, academics, consumer groups, and for the private bar. Very touchy issues about how balanced and broad the representation is, but an effort to bring them in. Widespread participation in the development of norms through working groups, the preparation of recommendations, and continued engagement over time. You do have, though, with the large group, the one-room schoolhouse problem, which is how do you teach first-year French and 12th-year French in the same room when you have everyone present, who speaks, how long. The notion that everybody gets to talk, everybody gets to vote, everybody gets to decide, and we don't do anything until we have a universal consensus is precisely a formula for going nowhere. A couple of lessons from this process. If government agencies want to play this role effectively, that's a huge investment. And it's an investment in non-litigation resources. How do agencies get scored? How many cases, how many rules? Not how well you built the infrastructure. But you can't do this on the cheap. If you want to play the convening and consensus building role, you have to spend real resources. The 2003 report that Edith Ramirez referred to on IP to promote innovation, that was 25 days of DOJ FTC hearings. We had 5 of our best people working full-time 3 years on that project. That's a really expensive investment in this consensus building process. You probably have to participate second in multiple fora in order to gain a sufficiently broad set of views and to engage in a debate over individual matters. You have to distill the results into reports that are both